Hey guys, this is Alex from Red Lizard Studios, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Asus AC1900 dual band AC Gigabyte router. It's a mouthful. Now this is a very good looking router for what it is. As of this recording, the price is a little bit cheaper. It's about $130, I believe, for this router. I paid about $179 about 2 years ago. But it's a very good router. It is a dual core model. It's 1 gigahertz. Has 256 megabytes of RAM, I believe. It has 3 external antenna bands right here. It supports 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. Now with these external antennas, they're high, I wouldn't say they're high power, but they can cover about 1,300 square feet. Currently my place is 925 square feet. Signal is strong throughout the entire house, except for the bedroom when it comes to 5 gigahertz because it has to go through like 17 million walls to get there, so I'm going to give it 2 bars, but to be fair, it is going through a ton of walls. Now in the front of the router, you have your LED lights, you have your power, your 5 gigahertz signal, 2.4 gigahertz signal. It says 2 USB ports. One is USB 3.0, and the other one is USB 2.0, right here and here, and these will light up when you have something plugged in. You have your internet activity light, and then you have your 4 LAN port lights. So currently I have 2 plugged in that are currently active. I have my TV that's plugged in, but it's currently not on, so this will not show up, and same for the 4th port. Alright, so taking a look at the back of the router, you see there is a plethora of ports and buttons. So you have your WPS button, so for quick connecting, so you press this, and you go on your device and you connect to it. You have your Wi-Fi on and off switch. I find this doesn't work for whatever reason on my model currently. It could just be a firmware bug. Every time I press, nothing happens. And same for this button back here for the LED light. Nothing happens when I press it. As you can see, it's supposed to turn off this. Oh, it worked now. Okay, that's weird. It wasn't working before. I just tried this last week. But essentially, so it tries to help you kind of find the switches in the dark. It doesn't really help, but it's there. It's nice, whatever. So you have your power port, your power button, your USB 2.0, 3.0. You have your Internet in, Ethernet in, whatever you want to call it. And then you have your 4 LAN ports. They're all in yellow, makes them easy to distinguish. And then you have how to reset the router, your information about the router. And you have some vents in the back as well that help dissipate some of the heat. There's no fan or anything in this model. There is just passive cooling. And then over here is a reset button. Sorry, I forgot about that. I've never used the reset button, but it's here if you ever need it. So if, like, say you accidentally brick your firmware somehow, like you update it and it fails, you press and hold this button. For a certain amount of time, we'll put it into recovery mode, and you will need to get a computer that's connected directly to it to upload the firmware. So we're going to take a look at the web interface really quick. You'll be presented with the login screen. So I'm just going to quickly log in. Okay, once you're logged in, this is going to be your interface. So on the left-hand side, you'll have quick internet setup, like if you first setting up your router. On the top, right here, you have operation modes. You can set it to a repeater, a wireless router, something else I forgot, bridge, and access point. So I'll do various things. I'll quickly just run through these. Okay. You have the option to log out, reboot. Here you can change the language, and up here you can see for applications, because there's different things you can use to manage it from your phone. Gives you the download links, guest networks, your wireless status, and if you have a USB device plugged in, it'll show up. So you can set up to 6 guest networks, 3 on 2.4 gigahertz and 3 on 5 gigahertz. AI protection. This does have Trend Micro built in. And this account does router security assessment, malicious sites blocking, vulnerability protection, infectious device prevention and blocking. And then the good thing is when it does block something, you can have it set up so it sends you an email, so you know it's blocked something. Someone on your network is going to a bad site. It'll tell you. And your parental controls. You have adaptive QoS, which I really like, so you can kind of see everything on your network and you can prioritize it, and you can see how much bandwidth it is taking up at any given time. You have QoS, which I have off, web history, traffic analyzer, so you can see what's using the most on your network at any given time. And you can search it by device on your networks and be like, oh, who's taking up all the internet? And you're like, oh, this person is, he's watching too much YouTube or whatever, that kind of thing. And you have a traffic monitor, so you can just see in real time what your stats are looking like right now in terms of how much bandwidth you're using. USB applications, so like I said, this does support USB 2 and 3.0. So you can just put a USB hard drive in there or a flash drive, and you can share it over the internet. So if you ever want to access something remotely, this is how you do it. You can set up a media server. You can connect a printer to it. So if you don't have a network printer, you can make this a network printer. You can attach a 3 or 4G modem to it. So if your internet goes out, you can have a backup internet source. Time Machine, so that's essentially for Mac. And Download Master, so essentially it's a torrent. You can think of it as transmission or QTorrent, where you can actually have it start downloading off the computer. So if your computer goes down, like you shut it down, this will continue to still download and upload and all that good stuff. AI Cloud 2.0, so this is kind of more functionality off the USB application. So Cloud Disk, so you can attach a device, access the internet. The internet speeds are pretty slow though, in my finding. It seems to cap out about 1.52 megabytes a second, which is kind of slow, but it has come in handy when I've needed files off my computer or off a USB device in a pinch. And there's Smart Sync, Smart Access, things like that. Up here is just settings, such for it. Then you have your wireless, so for your 5 gigahertz, your 2.4 gigahertz. You have your WPS, WDS, your MAC filter, radius settings, professional, so you can kind of dive into more deep settings. You can also adjust your TX power adjustment, so that's how hard it sends a signal out. By default, it will be on performance, but you can scale it back if you're in a smaller environment, so you're not wasting signal and you're not wasting power on it. Because the harder it has to push out, the hotter the router's going to get. Your LAN, your WAN, there's a whole bunch of settings. Dual WAN, so this is like I was saying, if one goes out, you have a backup. So like your modem. Or if you have another internet service router coming in, that'll be your backup. Your IPv6 settings, your VPN, which this does come in handy. I've used a number of times, like I said, if I've lost a file, like on another computer, I need to download a copy of it, I can remote into my network and grab it from my server or from my from whatever computer's awake. I can grab it from there. And it's also, one more thing. Also supports OpenVPN as well. I tried using this. I didn't particularly like it. It was a little too complicated, trying to get it all set up and everything. So I just stuck with the basic VPN that comes with, which is PPTP. So it isn't super secure, but it's definitely better than not having any protection. Firewall settings, admin stuff, like I said, you can change how you operate. Firmware upgrades, your system, you can adjust your system time, things like that. You can enable web access, so if you want to access this over the network, you can do so, and you can set the ports you like for it. And I have it set to auto log out after 30 minutes, which is very handy to have, just in case you do something, you go away, and you're like, shoot, I forgot to log out, I don't want anyone accessing my stuff. It will log you out. And you can save and restore all your settings. You can also transfer your DNS name. That I forgot to go over. Basically what that is it's kind of like a static IP address in a way, but it's through a DNS name. So like for mine, I set it for my name, so I can access my router remotely, because it's not just going to 192.168.1.1 at 8080 or 4343. I keep forgetting the HTTPS number. But that's basically how to access anything over the internet. You set it up and then you access it, and if you want to access the router, you do : 8080 or 443 for the HTTPS access. And you give feedback, things like that. System log, so you can kind of see everything that's happening with your wireless, DHCP leases, general log port forwarding, those kind of things. And then you have some general network tools that kind of try to help you troubleshoot different devices. If specific device is having an issue, you can try to troubleshoot it. And you can also turn on Wake on LAN for specific devices, which comes in handy. So I know I kind of blew through all this, but it's a pretty self-explanatory system that's set up. I've been using this router these routers, I've had multiple of these routers for probably the past 7 years, and I really, really like them. I've had no issues with any of them. They've been rock solid. They've had great performance. My wireless speeds have been top notch, even with the distance. I recently did do a hard line, but I am running a 100-foot Ethernet cable from one end of the house to the other, where the modem is, to the router. No issues. Get great performance. Okay, so my closing thoughts on this router. So for $130-ish, you can get a dual-core AC with 1900 megabytes of speed in terms of wireless inside your network, not outside. I would say it's a pretty good deal. I would say competing against other routers right now, I would still say it's a pretty good deal considering what most people do. Now, if you need it for multiple computers that are doing lots of file transfers to a server, I would say probably step it up to a more powerful router, possibly some of the first AD routers that have come out that have 10 gigabit built in. But I think for the average person and even office use and personal use like myself that I use it for, it works great. So that's it for this review. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.